In the grand scheme of things, it's become obvious that life functions, that the universe operates through within the law of balance, that with great loss comes great gains. And that's perhaps obvious through everyday occurrences, such as when you lose something that's valuable to you, you now have more space for something else to come into your life, which could prove to be better for you. So when you lose your job, you now have the opportunity to get into another one, which could be better for you. Or when you lose your significant other, when you lose your partner, you now have the emotional capacity to invest into someone else. You now have space for someone else to come into your life, which could also be better for you. Or it could be obvious through the countless stories of people who actually made it, of people who shifted their reality entirely, that we heard so many times from, that through their greatest failures, they've learned how to have the greatest successful outcomes, that they had to fail multiple times in order for them to finally break through and find their greatest success. Given that they remain consistent, given that they remain committed to their initial pursuit rather than giving up. Or it could also be obvious through theology, the study of religion, in which a recurring theme throughout all religions is sacrifice. Is that when you sacrifice something that's valuable to you for God, when you sacrifice a pleasure, when you sacrifice someone, when you give up someone, when you give up something that's taking you further away from your spirituality, from God, from your religion, you are guaranteed something that's so much greater than this thing. So when you give up a habit, a hobby, a pleasure, someone, you are guaranteed to receive something so far greater than that which you have actually sacrificed. Or even better, or more so, actually, it's understood through simply understanding how energy works, through understanding how you actually work, how life works. And that is, when you have something that's valuable to you in your life, such as your loved one, your partner, such as your job, such as your habits, such as your hobbies, that indicates that there is some sort of an exchange of energy. When you give value to something, the more value you put into something external to you, the more energy you're giving away to it. And that's okay as long as you are selective with whatever you are exchanging energy with. But when you release that thing, when you end up losing that thing, you release this exchange of energy, you reclaim your energy back from it. But that's not really absolute. Sometimes you delay the release of your energy, you delay the reclaiming of your energy, and you end up having trapped energy within that thing, although you lost it, and that delays newer things from entering into your life. And I will go into that much deeper in just a moment. But for now, when you have something that's valuable to you, it's given that you are giving it energy. So take this for example, if you have a plate and you fill that plate with your main course, with the salty part of the meal, and you go on and to eat everything that's on this plate, you now have no more space for dessert. And so when you have invested your energy into, when you have opened up all the energy, the capacity that you are able to receive energy, all for this main course, you now relinquished your right to actually receive energy from that dessert, to receive the energy in the shape of dessert rather. So you now have a specific amount of energy that you could receive or give away. And however you choose to invest that, however you choose to receive that, determines what more you are going to receive, or determines what more you're able to invest your time or money or power in, your energy, in other words, in actually creating into your reality. And so when you take back your energy from external things, you now have more energy to invest into creating other things. You now are opening your energy field into receiving energy in different forms, better said. But that perhaps begs the question of what about those who keep on losing? And I feel that on so many levels than you can imagine. I relate to that on so many levels. At some points I've went on losing for years upon years upon years. For over 2 years I was in a continuous journey of loss and almost zero gains. There was, however, internal gains. And that's the thing. But that's not really the main thing. But what about someone who went on to lose their job and then, due to their emotional instability, to their mental breakdown, they went even further in losing their partner? And due to their remaining jobless for a long period, for longer than they expected, they ended up even losing their home, losing their house, and all of that process in which they became homeless. And through all of that process, they went even further through their mental and emotional breakdown, which fed which fed into the output of more and more loss, which fed into the paradigm of them losing their sense of worthiness, of them losing their confidence, and feeding into the narrative that life is more and more about loss, that life for them is gonna keep failing, is gonna keep being an experience of failure, an experience of loss, which ends up creating more and more loss going on for years and years, perhaps even decades, for some people who wake up late to realize that they have been holding themselves back all this time. And the thing here is that it's guaranteed that life will have seasons of loss and gain to everyone. But what you determine is how long you experience the gain for and how long you experience the loss for, depending on how easily do you let go of, depending on how easily do you reclaim your energy from those things that you lose. And that actually reminds me of a beautiful quote by Sadhguru, or rather, simply just a reply to when he was asked by someone from the audience, how does astrology relate to spirituality? Or how does astrology affect a spiritual person's life? How does astrology affect spirituality or spiritual people? And his reply was simply that astrology is actually the opposite of spirituality, going on to indicate that it's guaranteed, astrology guarantees that there are seasons in life, that there are seasons of sadness, of misery, and those of joy and bliss, that there's seasons for loss, there's seasons for gain. But when someone on their awakening journey goes further beyond all of those seasons, ascend their limited nature, their self-bound nature, that I am functioning within this given reality and I will have to be a subject to all that it brings my way. When someone ascends all of these things, all of these constructs, they become spiritual. They have their spiritual awakening and they eventually find their way to enlightenment. And when that happens, they come to the realization that they are the creator of their reality, that all that happens in their reality is a byproduct of who they are, of what they are truly choosing from within them, of what they are truly believing in from within them. And so that brings us to, how long do you choose to remain in the season of loss or in the season of gain? And that is determined majorly through how easily do you let go of. Because, like I said, you are guaranteed to have seasons of loss and seasons of gains as long as you are yet on your journey, as long as you have not yet broken through the paradigm that we function within true spiritual and universal laws. Life will continue to present itself to you. Life will continue to manifest itself through your higher consciousness, through whatever you believe in. And that is, you will experience some losses in life in order to have better gains. But when you experience a loss, say the loss of your job, just like that example we mentioned earlier, and then you go on to have mental breakdown and emotional breakdown, and you choose to remain in this reaction for very long. You choose to, it's okay to react. Your initial reaction is not really who you are. It's just perhaps a small aspect of you that you could not control. And that's the emotional instability or the emotional breakdown. But when you keep feeding it, when you keep believing it more, and you keep choosing to stay in that victim mentality, that my company worked against me, that I was the victim in this whole scenario, and this loss actually is ruining my life, you go on to feed that paradigm. And what happens is that you delay your reclaiming of energy from that thing. Like I was saying earlier, when you lose something, when you are invested in something, you have an energy exchange going on. When you lose that thing, you reclaim your energy from that thing back into you, and that opens more space for you to receive more energy in different form, or to give out energy to create that energy of the job, of money making, of living, of making a living in whatever form you choose to next. But when you remain controlled and defined and identified with that hurtful experience, it keeps pushing away. It keeps remaining an experience of loss. It keeps delaying that experience of gain that has to balance this experience of loss, which the whole universe functions within the law of balance. And now what happens is that you do not reclaim your energy back from this thing, so you don't have more energy to make a living through a different method, whether it's a job, a business, whatever you choose to invest that energy in next. And that continues to feed, the output continues to feed your input, the feedback loop we always mention. And that input is that I'm losing, I'm in lack of money, I'm in lack of this, I'm in lack of that. And that deteriorates your inner world, that deteriorates your emotional and mental stability. And that feeds into the narrative that you are going to lose more, that I'm in lack, that you are in the vibration, you become on the vibration of lack. And then you end up losing your partner, like in that example, and that even feeds it further more. And when you lose your partner in such a vulnerable stage of your life, you also fail to reclaim your energy back from that significant other. And what happens, you now have no more energy to invest into a loving relationship, to receive, to open yourself up for a loving relationship to come into your life. And now your energy of making a living and your energy of finding a partner is trapped with that person, because now you are already suffering, and you end up losing that person. So you don't have it within you. You end up despising and being more resentful and hating, despiteful towards your external reality, rather than reclaiming your power. You end up blaming others and blaming yourself for everything that's happening, and feeding further more into the narrative. And then you resonate further with lack, and you end up losing your home, end up losing your house, and you blame the banks, you blame the owning company, and you keep feeding into further and further deeper into that narrative. But once you choose to reclaim your power, and that sometimes happened through hitting rock bottom, that happens when you end up realizing how powerful you truly are when you have nothing more to lose. And that's why sometimes many people associate suffering and loss, major loss in lives, traumatizing loss in life, with making it with success. But that's only when you're functioning within the constructs of this reality. That's only when you choose not to ascend this reality. But regardless, you end up hitting rock bottom and realizing how powerful you are because you have nothing more to lose. And now you reclaim your power. And now you reclaim that energy from that person, from that job. And now you start finding yourself again. You start understanding how this life works again, how energy works. But you can choose to have it, to know it, to play it, to understand the law of balance even before you hit rock bottom. And that's by letting go, by accepting that life is cycles, you are going to experience cycles of loss and gain in life. And that guarantees that your journey becomes smoother and smoother, and you lose things and you end up replacing them with better things. As long as you are on your pursuit, as long as you are on your journey, you are guaranteed to have some losses, but you are guaranteed to have better gains that are more suitable with your grander intentions, with your grand intentions, with your initial pursuits. And so letting go, being present, knowing your true self guarantees you a way smoother life. Thank you so much for tuning in to another video by AF's Conscious Frequency. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel because it helps this video find its way to many more others who might actually need it.